Hi everyone, I wanted us to have a conversation, a real conversation, because I don't think people really understand how much your life can change from one moment to another. My dad has been missing since 2010. And the hardest part is that it's not like losing a parent in a way that you get closure, because there's no clear ending. There's no moment where you say, okay, he's dead, he's buried, this is where I move on. It's just questions. And time passes, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. You don't know anything. You don't hear anything from the investigators. And at some point, you start actually even forgetting the bad or the shortcomings of this person, personally of my dad. And 17 years later, it still feels like I lost a very big part of me. And I remember being younger and thinking, life has a certain structure. You have your parents, you grow up, things are stable. And then one day, that stability just disappears. And nobody actually prepares you for what comes after that. Nobody prepared me for a life without a dad. And he was kidnapped when I was in Form 4, second term. Nobody prepared me for that. Life cannot even prepare you for something like that. And then you realize life doesn't stop. Bills don't stop. The heart, the pain, it doesn't stop. The responsibilities don't stop. The expectations, they don't stop. And at some point, I think you realize there's this enormous thing that has happened to me, but I have to keep moving. I have to keep going, whether you're ready or not. And I think that is where my relationship with work as a grown-up, I think that whole experience changed how I am with work, okay? So before, like when I would think of work, when you're in high school and you have your career plan in mind, I'm going to finish university or college, I'm going to do this. And growing up, those early stages, work just seemed like something you do. Maybe even something you complain about. But coming into the reality of, this is me as a grown-up, I've gone to college, I'm looking for work, I don't have a dad who can open doors for me. There's that gap, and after everything that happened, work stopped being optional for me. It became survival. It became, how do I make sure that everything is okay? How do I make sure my sisters are okay? How do I make sure my mom is okay? And how do I create stability when life doesn't feel stable? And that changes you. So personally, I work from home, right? And here's the hard thing, or here's the thing that a lot of people do not know. Now, on the outside, it probably looks like it's fun, it's calm, like everything is under control, right? So I log in, I do what I have to do, I show up to meetings, and that's all that people see. But what they don't see is everything that you're carrying in the background. The thoughts, the memories, the fears, the uncertainty, the questions that never really go away. And then something huge and heartbreaking happened to me, I think 2 weeks ago. And I needed to go home. I needed to talk to my mom because I can't talk to my dad about it. Although I think in this situation, if he was there, he would have been the perfect person to talk to. And then with life just hitting from every side, it's one of those things where I don't even have the words for that kind of hurt. But you still have to wake up. You still have to log into work. You still have to function. If you're a mom, you still have to be a mom. And that's something I think people don't talk about enough. The fact that a lot of people you work with, they're probably dealing with things you'll never even guess. And they're still expected to perform, to deliver. Companies, employers expect you to be okay. So when I say work is different for me, I really mean it, because it's not just about passion. It's not just about career growth. It's about responsibility. I'm a firstborn. I have younger sisters behind me. It's about survival. It's about making sure that no matter what happens, things don't completely fall apart. And I think that's why, personally, I take work seriously. And I think this is why some people take work so seriously. And not because they love it, but because they've seen what life looks like when things aren't stable. Because let's be honest, losing that kind of security changes you. Irrespective of your age, it makes you think differently. It makes you move differently. It makes you hold on tighter to anything that feels certain. Anything that feels like this could stick, this could be it. You're holding very tight to that. And the truth is, a lot of us out here are just doing our best to hold everything together quietly. So if you're watching this and you've ever had to show up to work where you felt like everything was falling apart, you've had to show up to work when you just felt like, you're not the only one. There's a lot of us out here who have this pain and unanswered questions in us. There's this valid pain in us and no closure. So what's something I'd like to know? What's something that you've been carrying that nobody at work knows about? If you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. Because I feel like the more we normalize seeing people as humans, then the more we can heal. And if you come across my dad, please tell him we miss him, and to just say hi, to just check in, and that we are doing okay. We are hanging in there.